Today, we're going to start taking a look at how the world is using Islam to try to destroy the foundations that we have set up and Christianity as a whole. And this will again come from We Will Not Be Silenced by Erwin Lutzer. And I will do commentary on what he has put in here. So when we take a look at this, we do need to take a look at the fact that a lot of Muslims have accepted the ways of the societies that they've come to live in. Not all Islamists are radical. So we need to make that very clear. And this is speaking about those who are radical. And they have claimed in the US to use the freedoms of the Constitution to destroy the Constitution. And that is words carried out by Muslim demonstrators that were near Detroit, Michigan. So use our freedoms to destroy our freedoms. And the two ideologies really do come head to head, Islam and Christianity. They are in direct opposition to each other, and they're opposite in many, many ways. And radical Islamists have a very strong desire and passion to have Sharia law implemented everywhere where they are set up. That is the radicals. That's what they want, is Sharia law, and Sharia law is very, very harsh on women, especially, and those who do not follow Islam. So that's not something we want to allow to be set up in any of our nations. They have the ability that they stir up through deception and lies. They stir people up and cause riots and extremists, like we see with 9/11. That's an example of extremists that they have stirred up. So we have to take a look at that. And when we take a look at even what the FBI has discovered through some of the Muslim brotherhoods, we have here what Patrick Poole says, and he is an FBI consultant. He says the project represents a flexible, multi-phase, long-term approach of the cultural invasion of the West, calling for the utilization of various tactics ranging from immigration, infiltration, surveillance, propaganda, protest, deception, political legitimacy, and terrorism. The project has served for more than 2 decades as the Muslim Brotherhood's master plan. And that is the intrusion of Islam will erupt in multiple locations using multiple means. So we can't just brush aside their extremist ways because their desire is to just take over and overthrow and to destroy Christianity. Christianity is a direct threat to Islam. So that is their ultimate goal, is to destroy Christianity and have them gone. And again, that's not saying all. That is the extremists in the Muslim Brotherhood. So we take a look at some of the ways that they have done this, and they do this through trying to affect the way policies are written and make it seem as if you're racist against them, prejudiced against them, and try and stir up those emotions so that they have a way to creep in, and they have a way of making it appear as if their religion is going to provide utopia, a utopian state, and as if it's all about peace, love, and harmony, and yet they go and slaughter Christians who do not believe in Islam, or they go and they have hit the buildings during 9/11. Those were extremists. But they use those type of things as ways to get to people and then destroy the foundations of people's societies through that. And they do use a lot of that type of thing. And Pilate and Herod had set aside their differences to become friends to kill their enemy, which was Jesus. And this we saw in Luke 23 to verse 12 when they had done this. And as they say in battle, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So they viewed Jesus as an enemy. He was a threat to what they were doing. And so they allowed the Jews to um, give them an excuse to kill Jesus. And if we can pinpoint a time when these radicals went through, again, I say 9/11. We saw the extremism of that, and then we've seen the terror attacks continue through different Muslim groups. We've seen it continue, and that's why the U.S. has gone after so many of these extremists. And again, that's not to say all Muslims are that way, because they're not. But we have to be very cautious, because again, it is in direct opposition to Christianity, and they view us as their enemy. So radical Islamists and radical leftists have a lot of the same similarities. They want to destroy our foundations, our freedoms. They want to stir up emotions of people to get them to go against the leaders. And they use terror tactics and threaten tactics to try to get their way. And we saw that peace is not going to happen. It's not. The world is just not going to have peace until Jesus Christ has come and sets up his 1,000-year reign, and after that, eternity. We won't see peace until that time. People can preach peace, but there's always an ulterior motive behind their peace. They always have some reason why they would like to have peace, and that is oftentimes so they can gain power themselves. That is what they want, and that is kind of what the Muslims preach, those who aren't extremists, and that is ultimately so they can have that control. So again, there's an ulterior motive behind it, and you see Muslims being accepted by countries, and their beliefs of Islam being accepted by society in terms of just integrating it and letting it change laws and change the way that we operate things from the way it was set up with Christian beliefs. Now it's being set up with Islamist beliefs. And that is very dangerous for all of us. And that is why they've been trying to attack Christianity, and yet we see Islam being untouched, is because of that exact reason. They want to get rid of Christianity and eliminate it. And they do a lot of this through immigration. We see they preach diversity makes us stronger, and yet they are bringing in more and more Muslim nations and Muslim people and of Islam, so that they can dilute our Christianity here and dilute the Westerners here, so that they can then gain more control and get into governments and take over and set up their own system of beliefs and their own governing rules that go further and further away from Christianity. And they use this a lot of times through political correctness is one big thing that we see a lot of this. So like Christmas, a lot of times, there's happy holidays now instead of Christmas because it might offend somebody. A lot of it attacks the way that we were set up and attacks our beliefs, our holidays, things that we hold sacred. They want to get rid of that. And it's under the guise of, we don't discriminate. And national security agencies are becoming more and more paralyzed as we see leftism take over. And it's allowing the people who are extremists to gain more control and to try to destroy us. So how are we as a church supposed to respond to this? We must reach out with a welcoming hand to the Muslims who live among us. We don't need to fear, because we can't turn away from it's in our face here. It's already here. So we need to reach out and welcome them and try to encourage them to look at Christianity and look at the fact that Christianity is a much more peaceful and offers a much bigger blessing in the end. And in Matthew 10:16, we see wise as serpents and innocent as doves. So the church must equip believers to engage followers of Islam, fully understanding their history, beliefs, and goals. That is the only way to reach them, is if we do understand them. And that's, again, with caution that we don't fall into following Islam, but to get them to just see that, we don't hate them, because we don't hate. We can't hate. We have to come at it through a heart of love. And we must try to, without following what they believe, we need to, again, understand it so we can show them, we understand your religion, we understand what you believe, but here's what the Bible has to say about this, and come at it from that angle of, I'm not trying to shove this down your throat, but you do need to listen, and you do need to take the time to look. I've looked at what you believe, so you need to take the time to look at what I believe. And if they're going to talk about fairness, politeness, careful listening, and the need for coexistence, then they also need to be accepting of Christianity. And it goes both ways. Otherwise, they're hypocrites. And so we need to just take a look at that and open up dialogue, have open dialogue with them, be open to discussing that. And the way to have that discussion is to have a firm foundation in your own beliefs, in the Bible, know the Bible, be able to be in prayer with God, and in that communication and relationship with God, and understand how God wants us to approach these things. And you need to be, again, firm foundation. You need to have that solid foundation in your Christian beliefs and be strong in your knowledge of the Bible. Otherwise, you're going to be swayed, and you could fall into the guise of the devil. So you really need to just know your Bible and always be in constant communication with Jesus Christ. And you need to pray for the Muslim nations. You need to pray for the Muslims in your own country. Pray for other people. You're not always asking for yourself, but ask for others, and that they be open. And ask for wisdom and discernment so that you know how to approach them, and you know how the best way to do it. And ask the Lord to speak through you, because it shouldn't be your words. It should be the words of God that are reaching them. And we need to take a look at how we are approaching things, because if we're approaching it with too much gung-ho and gusto, you're going to come across as if you're not trying to do it for the right motives, and then they're going to want to turn away from you and not want to listen, and you're going to possibly turn them away from being following Christ, and it's their eternal soul that is at stake here, and you don't want to be responsible for turning someone away and the hardening of a heart. So approach it with love, approach it with respect, with knowledge, and again, let God speak through you. Pray that God would do that, and then He would give you wisdom and discernment, and always be in constant prayer for people that need to turn to Christ, and they need to know Christ's love, because ultimately that's what Christianity is about, is love, and coming at everything with a loving heart and reaching people for Jesus Christ. And we can only do that by sharing the love of Jesus Christ. And He died for us. He died for us.